Alright, so at the time of this recording, I have just started Hunter x Hunter, the 2011 series. I am still in the Hunter arc, so forgive me, there's not really a lot of time to watch anime. Plus, the new season starting, I'm going to try watching some of the new shows and maybe make a video about that. But for the meantime, I am trying to get through Hunter x Hunter because I've heard so much about it. I have seen the characters. Every time I see a character, I think, like, that is a really cool design. And even in high school, my friends were telling me, like, get into Hunter x Hunter, and I was like, I'll get into it eventually. But I can say I regret not getting into it then because this is actually a really, really good show. Let me start off by saying, and a little bit of disclaimer. This is first impressions. This isn't an analysis. This isn't a review. This is more so just my first impressions. But let me start off by saying this show, for being made in 2011, looks amazing. It is solid, just solid color work, solid, like, just like good backgrounds, good character designs. Everything just looks good. Wonderful animations, like the scenes of Gon just like jumping around and being like just like an acrobat. It's just like, it's amazing. It all looks great. It looks solid. Like, it looks really good. It's hard to believe that this actually came out in 2011 because it looks better than some animes even put out now. But okay. Let's reel it all back. So, Hunter x Hunter, there's a young boy named Gon, Gon. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm just saying it how I know. And his father is this thing called a hunter. And it seems like hunters, they tease that there are very different types of hunters. They even, later in the episodes, they talk about gourmet hunters, which I hope they go more into. But as of now, they just had like the one episode where they kind of explained them. But these hunters, they're just like, I guess you could say maybe mercenaries of sorts. Some can be mercenaries, some seem to be like chefs, some seem to be assassins for hire. It depends. But basically, Gon wants to be a hunter like his dad, and he wants to understand what being a hunter is because he thinks that his dad left to become a hunter, meaning that being a hunter must be something exciting, must be something just like exceptional to the point that you would leave your family behind. So that's why he's gonna go be a hunter. I don't think his dad is dead, so who knows? Maybe he'll run into his dad. If you do know, well, don't let me know. Never mind. I don't want any spoilers. This actually seems like a really, really good show. It is a bit of a binge, I will admit. There's like 130-ish episodes, maybe 140. But I could very much recommend it. I'm slowly getting through them, slowly but surely. But okay, so we have the first episode, which establishes Gon, establishes his motivation, and he is going out to go become a hunter. He gets to go and be a hunter. He gets on a ship, and on the ship, he meets two of the other main characters. It seems like there's four main characters. Forgive me for not knowing how to say this name, but I can't. Kurapika, I think is the right way to say it. Kurapika, or the blonde-haired one, if you look up a picture, is someone who wants to become a hunter because they want to hunt down a group known as the Phantom Troop. And the reason why they want to capture or hunt them down is because they massacred his clan. And he very much gives off like a Sasuke-esque vibe, in the sense that he has glowing red eyes and his clan was killed or massacred. So it's like, granted, he's not like edgelord like Sasuke, at least not as of yet. Who knows? Character could change, but very interesting background. I can't wait till we run into the actual Phantom Troop, because there is a teaser of the Phantom Troop a little bit. But as of right now, that is Kurapika's motivations. Pretty strong, pretty good. Then we have Leorio, I think is how you say it. Forgive me, I'm not good with names. But he, at first, it just seems like he just wants money. He's like, I want to be a hunter because I want to get lots of money, right? It seems very shallow, and it seems very like, oh, he's just a guy who's seeking fame and glory. But later on, we'll get a little bit of an explanation. But for now, that's all we know, is that he's very much just someone who wants money. Then we have a little bit of a storm that happens, and it turns out that the boat was part of the Hunter exam, and it's shown that like only they succeeded, or not that only they succeeded, but that like a small number of people on the boat actually succeeded because the boat was part of the Hunter exam. The Hunter exam is shown to be very rigorous. It's shown that like thousands and thousands of people apply, but only like sometimes even nobody passes the Hunter exam. So it's like the stakes are high. You know, the Hunter exam, what do you call it? A finishing rate, I guess you could say, is very low. It's established as very, very low. So then we move on to the next episode. We get another part of the Hunter exam. It's to go to the cedar tree, and Gon, Copernica, and Leoriel end up going to the cedar tree. They run into this old lady where they have to do a quiz, and it's shown that the truth is that there is so like the quiz is very like black and white. You know, it's like if your mother or your daughter got kidnapped, who would you rescue first? And they say there's this other Hunter examinee who gives the answer of like, oh, I would save my mother because you only have one. And the old lady makes it seem like he got the answer correctly, but it turns out that Kurapika discovers the true answer in that you have to give no answer because there is no answer. Silence is the answer. And so then they get through that little test in which they go to the cedar tree, and they find these shape-shifting creatures called Kirikos, and they are the next part of the Hunter exam, and that they trick the examinees that the shape-shifting creatures attack them, but in reality that everyone there is a shape-shifting creature. And I actually really like this because it was cool to see, it's cool, again, like in the Made in Abyss thing. I love when people create worlds that aren't just like, oh, it's New York City with monsters. Like, that's boring. I like this where it's like there's this world with all these creatures and all these people who very obviously come from different cultures and backgrounds and have different styles and different upbringings and such. And the fact that there's these shape-shifting creatures that everyone, like, no one is like freaking out about it, you know, like how in some other animes there'll be some creature and they spend 5 minutes explaining the lore of this creature. It's more so just like, these things exist. Yeah, we're in this world, and yeah, these things exist. We all know what they are. And it's super cool. I love it. Then we have them going to a restaurant in which then they have to go underground, in which this is this giant tunnel, and then they meet all the other people, and they meet this guy named Tonpa who has failed the exam 35 times, and it seems like he likes trying to fail the examinees. He likes sabotaging them. He tries giving them a drink that's filled with laxatives, and it doesn't end up working because Gon figures it out. Gon is he has like really good instincts. He can smell, he can like sense things. He's just like, he is an acrobat. He's like a martial artist, and I don't know, they need, like, they're gonna show more obviously, but like he is very skilled for his age. He's really, really young, surprisingly. And so then we have the tunnel where they have to follow the examiner, and it's like a super, super huge tunnel. Like, it's a huge tunnel. And then at this point is when we meet our next fourth main character, I guess you could say, is Killua, I believe is the name. Killua, he's Gon's age, except he's like a professionally trained assassin. He has a really cool character design. And I like that he skateboards. It's adorable. And you know, we get a little bit more development in Kurapika, because they want to talk. She talks more, or he. I keep thinking, is it a she? I don't know. We'll see. It could be a twist, but I believe it's a he. He talks more about the Phantom Troop and how his Scarlet Eyes get there, and then because he opens up more, Leoriel opens up more in saying that he wants money because his childhood friend died of an illness because they didn't have the funds to save him. So Leoriel wishes to become a doctor who can give his patients free treatment as long as he has the money. And it's, this is more like, this is development. This is good development. You have a character who had a shallow beginning, but then there's some depth to them. It's not just like, oh, I want to get rich, and that's the end of the character. No, no. There's actually some really good development happening here. And then we go past the tunnel. The main four do make it, and there's a few people that get left behind. There's people that just collapse in the tunnel. It's just like, it's a really, really long run. And we end up in the swamp, and in the swamp, it's discovered that there's this bunch of like mysterious animals. There's shapeshifters. There's like giant, just creatures that are just like, this is such a good world. I love it. It's a good world. And then we go through this swamp, and we have, trying to find out what his name was. I forget what his name was. Give me a second. Okay, so the character I was thinking of is Hisoka. And I'm sure you've seen him somewhere. He's this clown-looking dude. He wants to become a hunter, it seems. And I remember seeing this character a lot. Like, I remember seeing this character more than I saw Gon. And he's very, like, mysterious. I like him, though. He's really, like, he seems very much like a powerhouse. He's very strong. He shows that he is not afraid to murder. It's shown that he ended up hurting an examiner in a previous hunter exam. So we'll see. I do know that he ends up fighting Gon in like a little tournament thing, but I don't know all the details. I've only seen like a few clips, so hopefully that won't spoil myself, but we'll see. But then we get to the next part in which they have to cook. This is part of the hunter exam, is that they bring in these gourmet hunters, Menchi and Buhara, and they have to show their testing or their cooking skills. They're testing their cooking skills, and Menchi gets a little upset because she doesn't like that people take gourmet hunters not too seriously. So she ends up failing everybody, and then the main guy, Chairman Nitaro, he ends up coming because Menchi ends up failing everybody, and he's like, come on, we gotta, you can't take it so serious, we gotta get a different thing. So they end up doing a different test in which they have to go get some eggs from these giant like spider hawk things. There's just like, again, I love it. This is awesome world building. It's just like there's this giant ravine with all these spider webs, and they're hanging their eggs from them, and it's like nobody has to sit here and question like, but what is the animal, why do they do this? It's just like, no, we all know that this is what is in this world, and it's super cool. And at this point we only have 42 candidates for the exam, and then it's shown that they're going on a blimp, and they're going to go to this tower, and this is the third part of the hunter exam. But before that, we have a little interaction in which Chairman Nitaro challenges both Gon and Killua to take a ball out of his hand, and it's shown the difference in like power levels here, because Killua does this like really cool like after image. I'm sure you've seen a gif of it if you follow anime at all. I've seen a gif of it, so I knew he was gonna do it. But it's shown that like even with Gon and Killua's skill, like this guy, he is above them. He's way above them. And no wonder why he's a chairman. It's very much shown that like he is stronger. He has like, he's not even trying is how strong he is. Like he has so much potential and power. Who knows how good it'll get. But then we have the main four and the additional guy Tompa. We have them going through the tower, and they end up fighting a few, more so, there's a little bit of fighting, but there's also more so just like gambling and clever little games that they have with these prisoners. And it ends up that the team has to wait 50 hours because Leoriel ends up betting. There's this scene where they end up betting time and seeing which, like if they lose 50 hours or if they go past the prisoners. and they end up losing. So they end up spending 50 hours in a room, and that's about as far as I got. So I haven't gotten very far, obviously, but I plan to get farther. Just need the time. I very much like this show. Again, I like world building. I like shows where it's like they just have a world and you are brought into it. They don't have to sit there and explain everything. They don't have to sit there and, you know, I'm sure there will be exposition. I'm sure there will be scenes of characters explaining a bit of the world, because I know there is this thing called Nen, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm sure it's going to be explained later on. But as of right now, I do like how the show isn't holding your hand. It goes. It starts going. Like the first episode is, I would say, the slowest episode, but that's only because it's an introduction. You know, with all first episodes, it's always a bit slower. After that, it's just nonstop. It just keeps going. And again, it looks great. It looks better than some anime today. Like, it looks good. So yeah, that's all my first impressions of Hunter x Hunter. I recommend the show. So far, it seems really good. I'll let you know hopefully when I finish it, but it's gonna be a while, so stick with me. Anyways, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Check the links down below and subscribe for future rambles.